right, welcome back, Wagoneers. This week in top news is the top 5 unfunny comedians. And as far as O.J. Simpson's concerned, he's, double homicide? I don't know, whatever the fuck he did. I'm still on NBC. Anyway, that's my Norm Macdonald impression. Top 5 list. We're starting with Pat. Pat, lead us off.
Thought that Doberman some humility.
It's got to be your bull.
You're not fit to wear this shirt.
You go tell Aldo and all those other Italian fruits.
My top 5 list, one honorable mention. I'm not a big comedian, like stand-up comedian watcher, so I don't really have a whole lot of input on my list. I'm basing this off of comedians I've either watched their stand-up or I've watched them in movies and they're touted as a comedian or supposed to be funny, and I don't agree with it. My OLI, my outside looking in, is Russell Brand. I just don't... he's not terrible. I just don't get the appeal that other people have for him. Just doesn't do it for me. Number 5, Dane Cook.
Thank you.
It's generic. It's not original. He's plagiarized a time or two.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Dane Cook, I think he when he first started out, I thought he was pretty good.
Yep.
And then he kind of got Hollywood, and his name got out there pretty big, and I thought his shit got really stale. It'd be like he would be telling his joke, and he would just be like, like laughing at his own joke, like really hard, and trying to get other people to laugh at it when it wasn't really that funny.
I have to say, in Dane Cook's defense, me and Sean in like 7th grade, watching like his Comedy Central Presents, like that was pretty damn good. So
I mean, start your day off the holy way with Christ Jacks.
The Burger King.
There was probably a time when he was good. It's just it never
towards the end.
It never matured or grew up or got evolved and got any funnier. It was the same old thing, just rehashed, repeated, and it's just not good relative to how much people talk about him. So he's my number 5. My number 4, Jeff Dunham.
I forgot about him. He sucks.
The puppets.
Yeah, him. He sucks.
The puppets, I think, are just a gimmick to hide the quality of the jokes being subpar. The characters for the jokes are, in theory, good. The delivery and the execution, not good enough. It's just not. It's not, again, not bad. Just not that funny to me. I think
great ventriloquist, shitty comedian.
I think he's just overhyped and overrated.
He's talented for the wrong reasons.
For what he is. My number 3 is probably the most controversial on my list because older people love him, but I just never got into it. It's Andrew Dice Clay.
Hey, yo.
You can the shock value of the tone and the dark humor he had. I just didn't find it all as appealing. Like it wasn't shock value enough and good to be with me.
Yeah,
it's like having hot sauce that's just hot and there's no flavor to it. He is just a shock value comedian, but there's no substance to what he brings to me.
Yeah,
see that.
His poetry or whatever. You know?
Yeah, like cool. Yeah. He had a good delivery of how like he was very segmented in his delivery and it's in that, but the material itself not that funny to me. My number 2 is every blue collar comedian with the exception of Ron White. Ron
White's the best.
Ron White is legitimately funny. I can tolerate him; he's fine. But Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy, there's a certain.
What about Ingmall?
Yeah, he's terrible.
Same. There's a segment of the population, and I don't need to specify them or put them into a group. There's a section of the population that loves him.
Foxworthy's the only one I like. I have a bunch of his albums.
I do think Larry the Cable Guy is a little overrated. I don't have him on my list, but
Ron White is my favorite of all of them.
Larry the Cable Guy is because he's doing a character. He doesn't normally sound like that.
No,
if you look at old videos, he's not. That's not his real voice.
No, and that's
doing
fine.
A character all the time.
But that whole shtick just it's tired for me.
Yeah, the glorified redneck stuff.
Yeah. My number 1. This isn't a shocker based off of his movies and what I think of his movies versus other people and how high a regard people put his movies. His audio CDs that were Comedy Slams were pretty damn good. I'll give them that. his movies and his acting and comedy in those movies is terrible. I'm sorry. We talked about it. Billy Madison is fucking overrated to me. Adam Sandler is my number one overrated comedian. It's not good. It's not good.
Whoa.
It's the same act. It's the same act every time. Rehash. I'm gonna have a gross overreaction and play like a petulant child in every fucking movie.
Cut the tape. We're gonna fight.
I'm gonna agree with Patrick to an extent here, because one thing that I think me, Travis, and Sean have specifically discussed is that he always plays the guy that gets the hot chick in every movie, and I don't like that.
Veronica Vaughn.
One piece.
But if you go look at some of his actual work, I mean, like Billy Madison, great. Big Daddy, great. Happy Gilmore. Just
classic.
go with it. Great. Happy Gilmore, great. I mean, he has so many great movies, it's hard to throw him up there, you know?
To you, yes. Fucking Happy Gilmore is outstanding. Billy Madison, good, but mediocre overall. Sorry.
Best movie.
His early work when he was doing like stand-ups on CD, or like especially like the was it like the Spanish bus driver that got beat up and like was in the stand-up? That's fantastic.
The CDs, yeah.
Yeah,
The CDs,
but translating from that, the movies do not save him for me. I'm sorry, he's a fucking
excited Southerner.
Yes. It's a one-trick pony when it comes to like his movie acting. It's like the doofus guy character that gets the hot chick, but plays like also plays like a petulant child that has a hissy fit, and it's fucking old and tired. He's not that good.
All right.
The best. Frank Caliendo does an impression of him, and it cracks me up every time. He's like, he just says something random and rhymes it in the end, and people give him $1 billion.
I would put Frank Caliendo in my top 5 comedians just for the way he shits on Adam Sandler.
A song for me, a song for you. Let's have a song in a canoe. This guy's brilliant. Give him $50 million.
Thank you. That is exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Too. They were like,
that's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
With the Awesomeo. The Awesomeo, and he's like, I'm Awesomeo, I'm gonna come up with a movie idea for you, and he come up with like 1,000 movies with Adam Sandler. It's like, this robot has come out with 875 movies, all starring Adam Sandler.
Yeah, sorry, Todd. Adam Sandler is my number one overrated comedian.
But you made me think of somebody else, so I appreciate that.
Well, I'll go ahead and go next if nobody else wants to go.
I'm going to erase one more off of here.
All right, so this one, I have 2 honorable mentions. First one goes back kind of like to the early '90s, I'm guessing, and his main TV show back in the day, where it was supposed to be a comedy, but it wasn't at all. A lot of the movies that he were in that were supposed to be funny weren't funny. His best role ever was doing the voice of Buzz Lightyear, Tim Allen. I never found that dude funny on Home Improvement. Never found him funny in Santa Claus. The guy's just not funny. Like I said, his best piece of work is doing the voice of a fucking cartoon 3D animated Space Ranger. So
I have some old stand-up I can show you, but his old stand-up is basically his Home Improvement character when he's talking about being a tool man and like working on stuff in his garage, and
I thought Home Improvement
and the grunting and stuff.
I don't think anybody else liked that show.
As the kids would say, he's mid.
Tim the Tool Man Taylor,
he's
not
okay.
funny.
He's had moments,
but I can appreciate his work as Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, like I said that, but Buzz Lightyear wasn't funny. Like he wasn't supposed to be. So yeah, that was his best work. Not being when he was trying.
To not be funny.
Last man standing
in the first movie.
So. I think it's basically Home Improvement too. Yeah.
Second honorable mention. I don't know. He was somewhat funny in Meet the Parents, but I just all around don't like the guy.
Get in.
So second honorable mention is going to go to Robert De Niro.
He's not really a comedy guy, though. I mean,
but he's not funny.
He is a douche nozzle, but I mean,
there's movies where he's in comedic roles and tries to be funny.
Well, definitely Meet the Parents trilogy.
Yeah,
and Heat was great.
And
I saw Heat.
That was real
He
funny.
was really good in Heat.
so Robert De Niro.
Goodfellas was a good comedy.
Yeah, so I mean, like I know he's got.
Why, you stab the guy?
I know he's got some serious, a lot of serious roles, but he does have a lot of comedy roles too, and I
That's
just
true.
don't find it funny, and I absolutely despise the guy as a human being. So
Yeah.
he'll get my second honorable mention. Number 5, I decided to lump these two clowns together because they kind of went hand in hand, and neither one of them are funny. And we're gonna go back to That 70s Show, and I'm gonna lump Austin Kutcher and William Valderrama together.
Travis is making me think here.
Because both of these guys are seriously not funny. As a
I'm
matter
with
of fact,
I'm with you.
Heather and I watched.
I was saying you lumped them together. It's like, can't just choose which
Well,
one of these.
all right, so
Topher Grace kind of sucks too. I'm just saying.
so when you
Especially it's Venom.
when you go back to
It was way better.
when you go
Yeah,
back
right.
to Two and a
Topher
Half
Grace.
when you go back to Two and a Half Men, replacing Charlie Sheen with Ashton Kutcher was that was great value. I mean that was
suicide.
that was terrible. Heather and I watched every season of the show The Ranch, which was the show itself wasn't bad, but again he's trying to be funny and he's just not.
Did Sam Elliott steal it?
Sam Elliott was easily the best character in that show. The other guy from That 70s Show with the curly hair and the glasses was pretty good on The Ranch.
He in jail? Oh, Masterson.
But yeah, they ended up kicking him off the show
I forgot
because
about him. I was
of,
thinking Topher Grace sucks too.
because of his skin. But yeah, I'm gonna go with number 5. We're gonna lump Ashton Kutcher and William Valderrama is just not funny at all.
It's Wilmer.
I mean, Wilmer, whatever.
You're going to be very disappointed when you realize I'm Wilmer Valderrama.
So
knocked up.
I mean, has he done anything since That 70s Show? There's a reason why, because he's not funny.
He was banging Demi Lovato, but just saying.
Who hasn't?
All right.
Me.
So number 4, this guy kind of goes in the same.
Me?
He kind of goes in the same ballpark with Robert De Niro a little bit, but he is in probably more comedies, and I've made mention of him as far as his only role that I think I've ever liked him in was playing Adam in the original Beetlejuice, and every other role this man has been in has been terrible,
Alec Baldwin.
and that would be Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, totally not funny.
Agreed.
Dude sucks all
Someone
around.
killed somebody.
Allegedly. No.
You might want to go into hiding, Alec Baldwin, because you're probably wanted for murder.
Thank you, Norm.
All right, I'm sure my number 3 is going to probably appear on way more lists than mine. And she is a female. Started out as a stand-up comic.
Started out as a
And
female.
She's not funny. She was unfunny as a stand-up comic, and somehow, much like how did I forget the guy's name? Who's your first honorable mention? Patrick Dane Cook.
Dane Cook.
Much like Dane Cook, started out in stand-up, but she was never funny in stand-up. But then got movie roles and continues to not be funny, and that would be Amy Schumer.
Here, here.
So I'm sure she's going to appear on more lists because, it's not rocket science that she doesn't really make people laugh. My number 2 is someone that I have long. She was probably the original person who made me think of when I thought about stand-up comics / movie actresses that are supposed to be funny that are not. She was the first person that I would usually think of. And she probably was battling with my number 1 until I just realized I couldn't. I despised this guy at number 1, so I had to leave him there. But number 2 is Wanda Sykes. I've
that's a good one.
never found her funny.
I thought about putting her on my
agree.
list, yeah.
Again, was for the long time probably claimed the number 1 spot for me, but has since been supplanted by the clown who I'm about to mention. Number 1, and somehow this guy gets a gig as a fucking late show host because some people apparently think he's funny,
I think I know what
but his movies suck. I think he's done stand-up before. He sucks. Everything this guy does, he's kind of reminds me a little bit of Dane Cook. Like he says something, laughs at his own shit because nobody else is laughing at it unless the mainstream people think he's funny. I don't know. Maybe some women think he's attractive in a certain sense, but number 1 is hands down Jimmy Fallon. Like the dude is fucking terrible. Like how does this guy get his own show?
He's constantly looking at the camera if you've watched Family Guy now.
So I mean, he gets my number one. I don't like the guy. He actually gave me the inspiration for this topic. So I had to put him on as my number one. Every time he comes on TV, I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, how does this guy keep getting money and people keep paying him?
I have to say, his Barry Good talk show was pretty funny.
I'd take him any day over any of the other talk show hosts. Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, definitely Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers can go to hell.
Stephen Colbert is supposed to be funny.
Apparently,
I guess I left him off.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Stephen Colbert, and then you said
late night
probably don't stand up.
Stephen Colbert blows big dick as well, but I don't even really consider him a comedian because he's.
Yeah, I know many would beg to differ, but ever since Conan left, I think late night's been dog shit. So,
but yes, Jimmy Fallon, you suck. I hate you. You are my number one, hands down.
He does a good Jerry Seinfeld impression.
All right.
I'm sure he doesn't.
All right, I'll go next. I have a pretty controversial list. All right, my third honorable. I have 3 honorable mentions and 5, obviously, in no particular order. But these are in a particular order. So whatever. All right, my third honorable mention is Dane Cook. It's already been mentioned. His early stuff was great. Then he got mainstream and sucks. And Employee of the Month was probably the worst hour and a half of my life, next to my relationship. Anyway. All right. The other one, I like him as a podcast host, but I don't like him as a comedian. It's Joe Rogan.
Ding.
I think his comedy is terrible.
It is.
Like, his comedy is just a joke. And like he'll talk with comedians, and they're like, "Oh, your last special was so great." I'm like, "You're not. He's not really funny. He's just like up there, just kind of telling fucking whatever." All right.
Podcast's not that great either.
Well, it's popular, but yeah, his podcast isn't that great either.
Is it better than the Kelsey's podcast?
I wish those two would just disappear.
Yeah, speaking of which, they think they're comedians. So.
Yeah, right. Killer Trev. All right. My last honorable mention is Jimmy Carr. Y'all know who that is, the British guy.
I got to see him this year.
I know. Yeah, you might like him.
That wasn't on purpose. I was invited to see him.
You might like him.
I was
find
invited
him
to a birthday
pretentious.
excursion, and then part of the tour bus was we're going to see Jimmy Carr after we got to eat. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm seeing Jimmy Carr today.
Yeah, Jimmy Carr is
Jimmy
not funny
Carr?
to me. He's British, and he just kind of talks down to the crowd a lot of the time and makes fun of Americans. All right, top 5. 5th is Seth Rogen. I don't really find Seth Rogen that
I
funny.
like Seth Rogen.
I mean, like, he's kind of just plays himself, and like his last few movies have been duds for me, so I just kind of. All right, number 4 is going back in time to the 90s. It was Will Ferrell's sidekick in Night at the Roxbury, Chris Kattan. I don't find Chris Kattan that funny. I mean,
he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, well, he disappeared for good reason. Yeah.
Steve Carr.
Steve Carr. Steve, no! All right, number 3 is also from the 90s, probably because I've been watching a lot of SNL top whatevers lately. Janine Garoppolo.
Oh,
I cannot stand her.
Yeah, I agree with you. Agree with that one.
And like she griped about like her time on SNL. Like, I've seen all this stuff like about her time on SNL. She was like, they hazed me, and like I was just this big victim, and all this stuff. It's just like, I don't know. They probably did, but
I can agree with that.
Pre-tattoos or post-tattoos?
I just don't find her. I just don't find her that funny. And like she's kind of like wasn't she on that show Daria or something on MTV?
Probably.
Wasn't she the voice of that?
Yeah,
She
Daria
Daria?
then, yeah.
I don't know, but that was all right. Number 2, Travis already said it. It's the other female on my list. I only have 2 females on my list. Amy Schumer, Unfunny, from stand up to now. And she got with John Cena in a movie, like that. It's not even.
That was true.
Yeah. I didn't even know that could happen. And number 1,
Come on.
We know.
we already know, but for the listener out there, the one listener, Ben Stiller, and I'll explain why. Because Ben Stiller totally needs to stick to the sub roles, like Sean was saying earlier, off camera, or not off camera, off mic, off air, and stick to the side roles, the ones where he leads his romantic comedies and everything. not funny, and he seemed to be in like everything for a while there. Like he just got like movie after movie. I really did like Tropic Thunder. I don't know if that had anything to do with his directing, but it probably had to do with the fact that like every star was in it. You know,
Along Came Polly.
It sounds like Adam Sandler,
well, Adam Sandler has his guys in his stuff,
and they're still trash.
well, I don't like any of his grown-ups movies.
Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But
Big Daddy.
What about Zoolander?
I like Zoolander. I like some of Ben Stiller's stuff, but overall, his overall body of work, I don't like Ben Stiller. So anyway, that's me. Todd or Sean, y'all last.
Want me to jump in? I mean, my list was kind of just thrown together at the last minute. So, I mean, Travis said something that made me think, okay, maybe they should be on my list too.
Too much gin in this cup.
So, since Travis had him as
Leave out
number
the
one,
back
I'm going to put him as my first honorable mention. I had Jimmy Fallon on here. I don't find that dude funny at all. And Family Guy kind of fucking hit it nail on the head. The dude constantly looks at the camera when he's like telling his jokes. He's not funny at all. I don't think he's handsome at all. I don't know if he was ever really supposed to be a handsome guy. I don't know, but I don't find him funny. I don't know how he got his own talk show. Jimmy Fallon's my first honorable mention. Second one,
Like Fever Pitch.
I don't know if this dude replaced Jon Stewart as the Daily Show host. Jon Stewart, I found funny for a while, but Trevor Noah.
He's
still on there. He's absolutely awful.
He's awful. He's not funny.
Craig Kilborn was between those two.
Craig Kilborn was first.
Yeah,
actually.
Craig Kilborn even was on
I like
that
Craig
night.
Kilborn though.
I like Craig Kilborn. Yeah,
Trevor Noah.
he was in.
Don't find him funny remotely.
Yeah.
Second honorable mention. And my third one, my last honorable mention would be Kathy Griffin. I'm surprised nobody mentioned her.
Oh, good one.
I
Yeah, she
don't find her
sucks.
funny at all.
Yeah.
I haven't gone yet.
No one's mentioned her yet, but apparently Sean might have her on the list. But yeah, Kathy Griffin's not funny at all.
Foreshadowing.
Moving into my top five. I mean, I don't really have much to go on here other than either talk show hosts or I guess some of them have roles in movies and stand-up comedy. But number five is D.L. Hewley. I don't find him funny at all.
Is he on yours?
Yes, he is.
Sounds like y'all co-wrote your list over
I
there.
don't think he said anything that's made me laugh in any of his stand-up routines. Number five, and this one I guess I have a little bit more beef to go on. And but you're at five. D.L. Hewley was number five. Okay.
You said five
Wait,
again.
who'd you say before that?
Number four.
Oh, okay.
Before
You
is
did say
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
I
mind.
mean, the first time I ever saw her, she was in Gilmore Girls. Jessica watched Gilmore Girls religiously while living with her. So I mean, she wasn't really in much of a funny role in that
Yeah.
show. I mean, when she started appearing in all these comedy roles, I was like, why is this chick like supposed to be funny?
Right.
So, not knocking her in Gilmore Girls because I mean it wasn't really that much of a comedic role, but when she started appearing in all these movies, I feel like she was kind of like overcompensating for something, and it just didn't make me laugh. So she's my number four. My number three has appeared on I think Travis and Biff's list, and that's Amy Schumer.
A lot of women on this list.
That's my third, right?
I'm just fucking with you.
I mean, have y'all seen anything that Amy Schumer has done that has made you laugh? I mean, she gets her own show on Comedy Central. It's awful. I don't think it lasted very long. Her stand-up routines suck. Any movie she's in sucks. Not funny. She's my number three.
Not to jump off a little bit, what's the lady that did the Tom Brady roast that fucking killed it?
Nikki Glaser.
Yeah,
she's
amazing.
I like a lot of women comedians.
So, like
but I just don't
Lisa
like
Lampanelli
certain
is one that always.
I
goes
love
in line.
Lisa
She is like fucking raunchy and dirty, and she's one that can make me laugh.
She was
But,
a
like,
hilarious roast comic.
The point I was making about bringing up Nikki Glaser is that she's not a one trick type comedian or one joke type comedian like Amy Schumer
She's
is.
been getting better. Have y'all seen the late night Thursday Night Football segment? She comes on late on the nightcap thing and does a segment. Nikki Glaser, and she does stand up about like jokes about the panel, but she also jokes about the game and stuff too. Like she came on and said, Carissa Thompson, she's like, you look like the picture I bring to my plastic surgeon and say, make me look like this and shit like that. And just funny how she roasts them on the panel.
I can't remember her name, but there's another chick that was pretty funny that used to appear in all the rows.
You thinking of Whitney Cummings?
Not Whitney Cummings, but she was kind of short, brown hair.
Natasha Leggero.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like her too.
Yeah, she was pretty funny too.
Get it! Get it!
Number 2.
Is that T. Higgins?
And this is the one I asked you guys about, like what the Spanish guy that I couldn't remember his name, because he had his own show on Comedy Central called Mind of Mencia.
Well, that's
and
canceled.
like I tried to watch that like many other Comedy Central shows with comedians like Tosh.0,
George Lopez.
yeah, and George Lopez show. This dude sucked. Like I mean, nothing. That show was awful. His stand up is terrible. So Carlos Mencia is number 2.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Number 2.
Yeah, Gabriel Iglesias is great.
I was going to say, go to hell.
You know,
I've seen Gabriel Iglesias
you don't like him?
2 times.
I'm not
3 times.
the biggest fan of him.
He's coming December. He's coming December 8th. If we all want to go see him,
Minus Patrick.
Patrick's in the front.
I was thinking about going to see him when he
Minus
came to LaBerge, but it was like $300 a ticket. So
Yeah,
I'm not paying that
I've
much.
seen him once at
You
the
know,
Sanger,
Patrick's not.
and then a second.
That's why he's overrated. 300 a ticket? No, thank you.
No, it's not that much. But he was at Sanger once, and then he upgraded. Was at Smoothie King Center. That was even bigger.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Oh,
No,
he
we
is
know
big.
he's big.
Number one
No, he's
was
fluffy.
number one was on Travis's list. Yes, it's another woman deaf.
Okay,
And,
well, sorry.
And it's
That's
not Amy
pointing out
Schumer.
is obvious.
it's Wanda Sykes. I mean,
No, but that's
her
I
stand-up is
agree.
fucking terrible.
She was
Everything-
terrible on
her
Curb Your
voice
Enthusiasm.
fucking nauseates me. She does the voice in what's Over the Head. She does
the
I
skunk.
think the squirrel or skunk. It's skunk, yes.
That's,
She does a bunch of
and that
voices.
just aggravates me.
I guess I never thought about her as her being good enough to be overrated. That's why I have her on a list. Like, I never found her like.
Well, it's
to be-
not really overrated. It's unfunny.
I'm just an unfunny list.
I agree, but she never even registered as big enough to be unfunny worthy to me. Like I would
She
never.
just sucked.
Yeah,
But maybe if we're talking about like stand-up comedians that are unfunny, she always just kind of stands out to me. So she's my number 1.
That's good.
black woman, huh?
That's not because of that. God damn it. God damn it.
Ask some questions.
Just
Sean's up next. Sorry, D.L. Hughley, Bill Cosby,
Said the Entertainer.
Chris Rock.
all of the original kings of comedy.
But what was Steve Harvey's funny.
That's fine. I took the opposite side and took all the fucking rednecks. The blue collar
All the blue collar comedy tour for Pat.
I know Patrick did all the blue
And mine is
collar.
all the original kings of
Racist.
comedy.
I kind of like Bill Engvall. You got a problem with him, Patrick?
Here's your
He's
sound.
tolerable, but as a collective, they're fucking trash. Minus Ron White.
One of those ones that come here, it's like Mike Epps and Earthquake and Bruce. Let's just name all those dudes.
Who? Bruce.
I know
Bruce.
Mike Epps. Who?
You don't know Bruce Bruce?
Bruce
No, who the hell's that?
Big dude.
Just
The
go.
big dude, Bruce.
Just go
Yeah, I know
YouTube
you're talking about.
and be mad that you wasted 10 minutes on it.
I get a lot of emails for the venues, and I see it. It's like, yeah, that's a show I will not be at. Not that those dudes aren't funny, but I just know I would stick out. Let's just say,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
just
Talk
saying.
about those people.
Something about them. You know, something about those blue collar comedy tour guys.
I can't trust them.
Just can't trust him.
No. Speaking of, all right, my first honorable mention falls in line on one of those categories. He's low on the list. First honorable mention because I feel like I want to give him more of a chance, but I don't get why the dude is this big. Is Bert Kreischer? Because it's like, okay,
Yeah, he's terrible.
he performs with
I
his
like
shirt
him.
off. Is like that's why people pay attention to him. Like, you know,
He's going to fall into that one trick pony kind of comedian at some point. Like he got famous off that one joke, The Machine, right?
mm-hmm.
He has not evolved a ton outside of being the oaf and the drunk and
Right,
dumb
right.
funny.
I mean, he's got a movie, The Machine. Or
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying he's
Got a
going
movie
to.
off
I think
of it.
his legacy will be The Machine. That one joke made him
Mm-hmm.
what he is, and he hasn't really evolved and progressed beyond that
I've seen
since he
him,
became
I've seen
mainstream.
him host a couple of things on TBS, and it was like he's supposed to be the comic relief host or whatever, and he's just nothing special about him. He's not funny. He doesn't add anything.
I will say this on his podcast with what's the other
Segura?
comedian with Tom Segura.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's pretty solid, but his stand-ups it's kind of lacking. But on the podcast,
He's better on pause than he is on
for
stand-up.
sure.
True.
Yeah,
I've
for
seen
sure.
him a couple times on Reels, and he's okay.
But he's like the oaf that they make fun of because he does dumb shit and they laugh at his stupidity.
I did see a reel where he tried like Zen for the first time, and it was pretty funny. And it's like watching his brain go, and it's like, yeah, these are pretty damn good, or whatever. And like watching.
He's definitely has his moments, but he's better on pod, kind of like Sam was better on audio CD than he is in real life movies.
Piece of shit car. Piece of shit. That being said, I am pissed that Tom Segura is coming December 7th, and that's the night of my work Christmas party, so I can't go see Tom Segura. He's at UNO Lakefront Arena, by the way.
Fuck that work.
Anyway, moving on. I don't know why I thought of this person, because I haven't seen her stand up in a long time, but I just remember every time I saw her face, her stand up, everything about it just bugged the hell out of me. It was Margaret Cho. Asian comedian. She just she would do funny voices and stuff.
Yeah, well, not funny.
She was almost like an Asian.
Unfunny.
She's almost like an Asian Janine Garofalo with a bunch of random tattoos, and I just never got like what is her. I don't know why people find her funny. I just don't get it. And then, all right, another honorable mention, because I think the dude has redeemed himself in movies and things like that. But stand up that I never liked was Kevin Hart. Huh? I always found his stand-up to just be just average, nothing special about it or whatever. And I remember seeing him in the old Comedy Central days, and he started, when he blew up in movies and stuff, I was like, I get it, his voice, his mannerism. He's good for, like, you know, all the cartoon characters he does and you know, his little bit parts and, like, 40-Year-Old Virgin and stuff like that. He's gotten better with movies, but his stand-up just never did it for me.
You know who disagreed with you? Dave Chappelle's kids. Because Dave Chappelle told a bit about how his kids were so pumped to go see Kevin Hart. He's like, you know, I do this shit too, right?
So, yeah, honorable mention.
Yeah, but I wasn't a fan of his stand-up either.
And then, last honorable mention, this one's an interesting one because I've gotten a little bit better with this dude, but his comedy is very weird. It's very... He's obviously got an audience. Former head writer for Saturday Night Live is John Mulaney.
Yeah.
John Mulaney is very weird. His topics, his premise, the shit he talks about is just like, it's like I can kind of get, it's almost like you don't even get some of his jokes. He talks about dating Jewish girls and like weird New York humor or some crap that I'm just like, do I get this if I'm in a different circle of people or something? It's like his jokes are like very out there.
That's what I thought it was.
And it's like he's come here. He came here at the end of last year at Mahalia Jackson and heard a couple of people. I went and saw John Mulaney. I'm like, I don't know. I'd go see him with other people. But
my brother Josh likes him a lot. He likes John Mulaney a lot.
So it's like, and I've heard bits of him like come on Spotify and stuff that, you know, I'll listen to like the bits that come on, like the little minute, you know, almost like reels on Spotify kind of.
Yeah.
And he's like some funny stuff, and it's just like other things. I'm just like,
He's got some funny stuff. Yeah, but I can see
recognize. That's what I thought he was talking about.
Who? John Mulaney. Yeah, he's even had a sitcom and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, he was a writer for Saturday Night Live.
His bit for the What's New Pussycat Tom Jones thing is pretty funny, where he put it on like the jukebox like 15 times.
Okay.
And they said after like the 7th time of hearing What's New Pussycat by Tom Jones, you're pretty mad. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so I shimmied in this number 5 on the list because during y'all's other ones that made me think of it is Andy Dick.
See, I can't like Andy Dick, though, man.
I mean,
who's hungry? Who's hungry?
He just, I don't know.
He was semi-responsible for Chris Farley's downfall. So he was partying with Farley back in the day. So
I mean, I don't know if I've seen enough of stand-up or anything by him, but I mean, he's, you know, it's been a while. I don't know. It's like he was obnoxious back in the day. He was kind of like an actual real comedian version of Tom Green.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I like Tom Green.
Yeah, I've seen him do an impression of Tom Green or whatever, and he was like, groceries, and he was grabbing people's groceries coming out of a grocery and slamming them on the ground and stuff. And it was just like, okay, whatever.
But I better have Gallagher on this little. Gallagher better not feel now.
Better be or not be?
Better be or not be.
No, I like Gallagher.
Hey, buddy, I like Gallagher.
Sledge-O-Matic, yeah. I used to watch him
Gallagher
growing
was
up.
the shit.
I used to watch him growing up with my dad and stuff. All right, number 4 is a 2-parter. It was a 1-parter, but then I had to put Kathy Griffin on the end of it.
Griffin is fucking
But
terrible.
I find Kathy Griffin falls in line with this person. Number 4, Chelsea Handler. That she's just like, she's very political. She's obviously super liberal. She's obviously, she's one of those people that I think thinks her jokes are way funnier than they are. And I can't really pick out any of them. I just know anytime I've watched Chelsea Handler stand up, I'm just sitting there just like, all right, when does this get funny? I just don't get it. I'm not her audience.
She does like black guys, though.
Hey, now.
So
does Lisa Lampanelli.
So actually, I post some pretty risque pictures on her.
I like her host my dick.
So does who's the chick married to Jordan Peele? The chick from Brooklyn 911, Brooklyn 99.
No idea.
Oh, damn it! I can't think of her name. But anyway, yeah, they're married in real life. So, moving on. Number 3 is Jeff Dunham.
There you go.
I've tried with him. It's like I just don't get the whole why. It's more like why do people think he's super funny? That he's like, he's at Smoothie King Center. And, yeah, it's like such a big show, and it's like I just don't get why.
I do agree that he's overhyped. I do think some of his stuff is funny though. I mean, I don't quite understand the popularity behind it, but
it's either all or nothing.
What you got? Oh, okay. That's not Chelsea Handler.
Is it?
Or is it?
It is. She posts that kind of stuff on her Twitter page.
Oh, okay. You know where Patrick stands on Chelsea Handler.
Good to look at. It stops there.
Doesn't matter if she's funny or not.
Yeah.
But Jeff Dunham, it's funny, like with some of his characters, like especially like the Ahmed, like the blown up like terrorist or something. It's like, how does he not get completely destroyed by these like stereotypical, these like very un-PC, things, spits that he does. It's like people with Reem, other comedians, were talking about this kind of subject matter, but he just, everybody loves Jeff Dunham. I just don't get it. And then number 2 on my list is D.L. Hughley. I remember renting the original Kings of Comedy years ago, and he was the only one that I could not stand on that. And, I hate having to say it. It seemed like every one of his jokes was like, he had to say, white folk, black folk 1,000 times. It's like, can you make a joke where you're not comparing black folk and white folk? It was like, and every time he said something with folk behind it, I would cringe. It was like, can you say another type of joke besides that? It's like, I don't understand why this is funny. And it's just like, all you're doing is just spouting off stereotypes, and this is supposed to be hilarious. And I mean, that goes, for any comedian when they imitate, a type of race or something like that. And it's like, every stand-up comedy, the white guy's always like, oh, I'm a white guy, and make like every white guy sound like hi, fellas. They make white people sound like the biggest nerds on the planet and stuff like that,
Chappelle did that, but it was funny.
I was in Bebe's Kids. Renfro, you guys got some corny names. Corny names, Renfro.
And I'm not hating it. Goes the other way around.
Bebe's Kids was a solid ass movie. I ain't gonna lie.
Because
what? You didn't like Bebe's Kids?
It's overrated.
Oh,
good, but overrated.
And it goes the other way around, because I know y'all love Amy Schumer, but I mean, she was like, one of her bits, she's like, yeah, I was talking to all of my black friends, and her name was like, Tapioca, Tapestry, something crazy like that, and so she's like, I was talking to her, and she was like, girl, and doing all this kind of stuff, and it's like, obviously stereotypical, like, stop yelling at me, we're not at the movies, and all her racist jokes that she does,
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. And number 1 has to be Carlos Mencia.
Oh, okay.
Mind him and see.
Man, you and Todd had some pretty similar lists there.
Mencia's terrible, man. Like, I remember when that Mind and Mencia show came out.
I forgot.
I was waiting for
I
something
completely
funny to
forgot
happen.
about him because I just,
He sucks.
he just wasn't relevant.
South Park reamed him and says, like, I take other people's jokes and say them in a Mexican accent, and people laugh.
I didn't make up the gay fish joke.
And I love when Joe Rogan called him out. When Joe Rogan got up on stage and was calling him out for plagiarizing jokes and stuff. And he's like, you see that one right there? And Joe Rogan was like name-dropping people that he was stealing jokes from and stuff. And Mencia was just like he didn't know how to respond to any of that. It was funny shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a reason Carlos Mencia is nowhere around anymore. So,
yeah.
Sure. Same for George Lopez.
hey, I like George Lopez.
The act is the same and kind of got tired.
True. I mean, I like.
I'm not saying
I
in the
agree
moment.
on both of those. I think the act was pretty similar, but Lopez was definitely a little funnier than
Didn't
Mencia.
Lopez even have his own
Keep
show?
going,
He had his
keep
own like talk show or something too. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he had his own show on like network television.
Go, baby.
And they're coming back.
And I think it lasted a couple seasons. It wasn't
That'd
great.
be such a bummer for Jim Harbaugh to blow a 20-point lead. Fuck that guy.
He's not a funny comedian.
Is Jim Harbaugh a comedian?
Jim Harbaugh is just not.
His attire is fucking a joke.
Walmart khakis.
His
so.
khakis.
His khakis are a joke.
You know, same I can say about him is even though as much as I don't like him, he's obviously a good coach. I mean, he took a team like the Chargers and he's got them 6-3 right now. So, you know, what do I know? I just don't like the guy.
Look, I mean, Travis added a couple of guys. Like he mentioned Ashton Kutcher, who I never found that dude funny. I thought Punk was fucking stupid. And of course, when he replaced Charlie Sheen on 2.5 Men, it's like, how is that going to be a good fit? It wasn't.
Charlie Sheen was gold on that show.
Somebody mentioned Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think anybody had him in their top 5 or even an honorable mention, but he sucks too.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
Hey, who?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert. I don't like
Jimmy Kimmel peaked at the Man Show.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
All right, now girls jumping on.
Yeah, that was the best part of the show was the girls jumping on trampoline.
So after it was Corolla and Kimmel,
They
was Doug
kept
Stan-
it going.
Rogan,
was
yeah.
Rogan and Stanhope.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
It was
Rogan
only
and
for one
Stanhope.
season. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Doug Stanhope?
He wasn't funny.
He's hanging out with Brian Dunkelman.
What the fuck is
Who
that?
the fuck is that?
He co-hosted season 1 of American Idol with Ryan Seacrest. And who blew up in is Ryan Seacrest? Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Brian Dunkelman's like shoveling dirt somewhere.
He's working.
I would have to look that up to even know who that guy was.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what the
got
fuck
nothing.
Brian Dunkelman is.
He's-
I like to drink Dunkels.
He did some voices like with some cartoons and stuff, but the dude fell off the planet, and you know, it was like the second season. They kept Seacrest and canned him after 1 year.
Oh, for American Idol.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was like I could have been Seacrest, and they didn't. You know, they kept me or some shit. It's like, yeah, no. Dude's voice, his look, everything about him was just like no. The fact that they thought 2 dudes could co-host American Idol was weird. It was like, well, like why do you have 2 of them? Back in the 2002
I
days.
have no idea who this dude even is. Never seen him before.
And while we go research who Brian Dunkelman is,
Wagons out.
I love Leonard and Brian Dunkelman.